girls and boys. Today we're going to make music. Happy music and sad music. Funny music and serious music. Music that has many of the feelings we have. So get your instruments and come along with me. Let's put some of our feelings into music. We will use rhythm sticks, a drum, a triangle, and tone blocks. Did you hear the happy feeling in that tune? You know that feeling, don't you? It's the feeling you have when something good happens to you. The feeling that comes when you have a wonderful time with your very best friend, or when you receive an invitation to a party. If you have these instruments, get them and be ready to play them. If you don't have them, clap when an instrument plays. Ready? Let's begin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Big Time Conference featuring Valent. As always, flanked to my right is the lovely commentator from overseas. Exla, how are things on your side of the pond tonight?
Well, I've just been outfitted with the freshest clothes and got my own aquatic hoodie. I'm really probably the only one with the British flag in existence. I don't know if Trident has one, but yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm all dressed up for the occasion, and we've got a pretty decent game on our hands as well.
I am looking forward to that as well. And, I do appreciate the slight flex of your limited edition aquatic apparel, as you now have collectively 100% more aquatic apparel than they have ever sent me. So, feels bad, man. But I guess hoodies don't get thrown down to the aquatic basement all that often. A little bit of housekeeping to start things off. As I'm sure loyal viewers of the broadcast are aware, this is not the common way we do things. Usually it's a Neptune getting the troops all rallied up. Unfortunately, with the COVID situation down in that Naples office, they've cleared everybody out. So we are doing the broadcast completely remotely. A huge shout out to Elvie, who has taken over the production duties from Riptide and has been absolutely wonderful to work with. So if there are a couple slip ups, it's because all of us have been trying to figure out how to make things work without the maestro that is Riptide running the production. But with that out of the way, a quick reminder to everyone as to the format of tonight's proceedings. We are doing the Big Time Conference featuring Valor, and that means that every week, every team is going to have a game. They're going to play a series of 2 independent best of ones. They will play every team once over the course of the season, and at the end of that, they will tally up their records, tally up their round differential, and the top 8 teams will move on to the championship tournament. Expo, can you tell us a little bit about that championship?
Well, it's really the important part. It's where all the money is made. 3 weeks long, show each week, and it's a bit longer than this one. This one's a best of 2 during the regular season. Every game is going to be a best of 3, and then that sweet grand final best of 5, depending on how many maps we have at that point, might be all of the maps. A real test of the versatility of every single team. But talking about teams, let's go see where they place right now. Let's head over to the standings. If you'd be so kind, Elvie, thank you very much. Things have changed quite a bit since last week, actually. We had Michigan, who didn't play their game on time. They've had that postponed, and they replayed it just the other day, and they now take the top spot as the only 4-0 team. Really something impressive. A very nice round differential as well, 29 plus, which is the highest out of anybody. And also, look who's second, Michigan State, who play each other next week. That's going to be a big game. Make sure you tune into that. But I would like to bring attention to middle of the pack, 5th through 8th, 5th through 7th. And all the teams having played 4 games, 2-2. And the round differential, which is the thing that is meant to separate teams who have the same amount of wins, separated by about 4 rounds. Now, that 4 is going to change a lot. We also see some teams that, with just a draw, can move themselves up into the 2-win bracket. But, yeah, anything else you noticed from this, Kami?
I'm pretty hyper focused on this week's game, and we are seeing Minnesota and Iowa, and they are on a little bit of the opposite end of the spectrum. Minnesota sitting at 3 1/3 in our standings, and all the way down at 10th, we have Iowa sitting at 1 3. And while it may look a little lopsided, it's still very early in the season. So any map win, any map loss is going to show up really heavily in the swing of these teams. However, we have seen, the likes of Wisconsin, who's sitting at 8, who really impressed us last week, sitting lower on the table than I think they'll end up finishing out. So it's important to remember that as we go into these early games, that this table is going to change a lot with new data being entered in every week. And mentioning the game of the week, it's also important to look around at what's happening across the league. So if we could kick it over to the schedule, in addition to our highlighted match of Minnesota and Iowa, we have Indiana, Nebraska, Purdue, Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin, Michigan having another postponed game against Illinois as they get their roster figured out. Michigan State's taken on Rutgers, and last but not least, Maryland and Northwestern are duking it out. And in addition to our game, which I think is going to be better than the standings are implying, I'm pretty excited to see Penn State versus Wisconsin when I'm able to check back over the VOD of that, as we are going to see the Penn State side repping Danny Steele, an old favorite here at Aquatik, and Rezi K going up against the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, and Neebs. I think that's going to be a fantastic match, and I'm looking forward to looking back. Are any of these matches jumping off the page at you, Explo?
I think it's important to note that the reason that you say Danny Steele and Rezi K are so important is because by the end of week 1, they'd already scored 100 kills between them. between 2 players in 2 games.
And that's only 2 maps, correct?
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. But I'm pretty excited about Michigan State Rutgers. That's a 2nd versus 4th matchup. And not only will it be high skill, but also Michigan State kind of need that win in order to set themselves above Michigan, University of Michigan is as their full title. And there's a bit of rivalry going on, and anything that happens in Michigan, Illinois, which has been postponed, as you said, and Michigan State Rutgers really is going to decide who's the favorite going into their derby, which will be the featured match next week as well. But I think it's important to see what maps we're playing on. So let's go see what the teams have picked prior to the broadcast. Iowa have gone with Split. I know, I make fun of Split every week, but here we are, and there's been a lot of changes as well. We'll get to those when we get in the game, and also Minnesota have gone with Bind for the 2nd map. What do you think of these picks, and especially with the map changes? How do you think it's gonna change up to what we normally see?
Well, it is going to be interesting to see the way that Split plays out. These teams have really only had about a day to get used to the changes, B main being made wider, a lot of those 50-50 angles being eliminated or made significantly more shallow. It's going to be interesting to see how the defense approaches these gunfights, as well as the retakes, especially on that A site with that back front corner being made significantly more shallow. It takes away a popular plant spot, now able to get spammed from heaven. It's just going to be a lot of adjustments that are going to be needed to be made in that strat book. And then Bind, having seen very little change since the beginning of closed beta, plays out just about the same, but it's a map that everyone is comfortable on. It's a map that everyone knows well. So it's going to be a little bit more of a comfort pick coming out from Minnesota, and it should breed some exciting Valorant. But I mean, I could talk about these changes for hours, especially with Split, because it's going to be a lot more exciting. I think we're going to be seeing it a lot more often throughout the remainder of the big time season. But let's move on to something that I like talking about, our predictions for this. And the reason I like talking about is that week after week, I am proving NA superiority over EU, leading 3-1 in these games. And I am going with a little bit of a dark horse pick this week. As I said, the 1-3 Iowa Hawkeye team, the Radiant Rising, as they call themselves. I'm taking them to win both of these maps, and the 1-3 record may look a little bit bad on paper, but when you take into account that the week 1 they had to go up against that Michigan State squadron that we saw last week that has firepower from top to bottom, it's very hard to expect a team to come in and play well against them. And they came very, very close in their first map on Ascent against them, only losing at 13-9 before going to Michigan State's map pick, which Michigan State took pretty handily at 13-5. But last week, against that star fragging power of Rezi K and Danny Steele, they were able to split those maps with them and perform significantly better. And I think that's going to be the Iowa team that we see throughout the remainder of this season. So I'm feeling fairly confident in my Iowa pick, and my player to watch for this week is going to be Tanman. You may have seen him in the top 5 plays of the week with an insane 4K on Split, as the Penn State squad just all jumped into that vent room and fed him one by one. But he does have that pop off potential. We're going to be seeing him on Rays on Split, and with those widened entry points to both A Heaven and that B main area, we should see some pretty exciting plays out of him. And if he can get going, the sky really is the limit for this Iowa squad. And I know, as always, you disagree with me, XFlow. What are you thinking about this Minnesota squad that has you picking them?
I never envision a day in which I will ever agree with you, to be honest. Maybe a first person last, but hey, we'll see. Also, talking about those top 5s, if you haven't seen them, head over to YouTube. It's a great place to see clips featuring all over the league relevant to the games we play. And, well, I mean, the number 1 for last week was pretty insane as well. But I've disagreed, as always, and honestly, I think I went for the Dark Horse last time. Well, Dark Horse, there was only like 2 games played, but this one, I decided to use maths and numbers. And so I want to look at Zempo, right? This guy has played 4 matches of Valorant and has 21 First Bloods. 21. That is on a total of 76 kills So about a third of the time, if my math is about correct there, about just under a third of the time, every kill he gets is a first blood. That is the epitome of opening frags. And then also, backing him up, Retsumuso, who doesn't have as many first bloods, I'll admit, but he has 2 more kills, 76 to 78 total, which puts them at 5th and 3rd in the league total. Beaten out, I believe, only by Resi K and Penguin, I think. And so, I mean, I can't disagree with people who get 150-odd kills in about, 4 games?
I can't fault your logic there no matter how hard I want to try and do it.
That just means I'm right. It means I get 2 points, we tie it up. We can call it now if you want. We don't have to play the match. I can call it 3-3 and we can go next week, because this is the only thing that matters. I don't care what the league does. This matters to me, okay? My pride is on the line, okay?
Well, with your pride on the line, Explo, I feel like it's time for us to get into the game. Let's kick it over to our friends from Corsair, reminding us why they are so great. And when we come back, we will hop right into the action. The teams are itching, rearing to go, yelling at me in team chat to get us moving. So without further ado, Elvie, if you could kick us to the Corsair ad when we come back. Big Time Conference, Minnesota, Iowa, ready to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We've just had a look over during the ad over these agent picks, and well, I mean, Viper to start with. I mean, that's different. I mean, it's not too different on this map, but it is different nonetheless. Also, chat, I would like to, just because I'm excited, I've got a new toy, because I just found out you can use controller in free cam, so no longer do we have shaky hand camera angles. Look at this, chat. Whoa. It's literally only used for free cam, but I've got my favorite thing, and you better compliment me in the chat about my camera work, alright? Otherwise I'm not going to be happy. Anyway, here's one of the areas that changed on the map, and it looks like they're about to get started here, /mid, which has also changed, so let's see what we get into, but instead of cameras, let's probably play the game. Blissful Gamer tries to open up with a peek towards mid. Interesting, no one taking position in ropes, as is normally quite standard. And well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the new B main, wider with the box on the side. And well, it's slowed the progress slightly, but you can see Blissful Gamer is making his way into mid. Finds Zempo, playing the Viper, but the one-way smoke goes up and halts his progress. A pretty wide split to start off.
You know, a little bit of a slower pace, as it almost feels like each of these teams is trying to figure out the map as they're playing. It should lead to some interesting confrontations, and a quick shot by Blissful Gamer, or excuse me, by Blissful Gamer onto Zempo running the Viper, and that one way being there permanently is a huge advantage of having Reyna on this map. And things are really taking a long time to kind of manifest. Attention to that B main area, a little bit harder to peek those angles, that box being added there, as well as the door being made wider, is really slowing down the attack, but it is going to be less of a kill funnel, and the flash comes in. Violence begins, and Retsumuso already making his presence felt. Explo, take us away to the end of this cluster.
Oh no, it's gone horribly wrong, but AM actually manages to pull it back from the claws of defeat, and it's a 1v1 in our first round. Cobalt going up against Notorious John. And, well, they pushed in, didn't find the kills that they really wanted to, and luckily AM, or AAM, or ARM, has been poised to take it back, and take it back they will, as Notorious John finds Cobalt for the first round. First round on Split Online broadcast, and, well, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, an immediate impression onto how this map plays. I mean, it's slower, much slower, and well, let's take a look at it. Explain to me and the audience at home what difference this makes. This box.
Being able to attack from this B main area used to be a living nightmare. You were able to hang out behind sign or hang out behind pillar. You had 50-50 angles galore that you could take. And it really made pushing through it a killing zone, as from either side you could pretty much get sprayed and be shoulder to shoulder, and it was not going to look well. But we do see a full classic push down mid, gambling on the presence, and that flash is ready in AAM.
Oh my God.
Going to turn the old ramen area into a bit of a slaughter field, as their patience does pay off. It's showing that Iowa's ready to play disciplined, and they're not going to get hoodwinked by a little bit of a gimmicky play, as the kills all start to fall into the hands of that Iowa squad on attack, almost looking like they're defending their own spawn. So we'll see how that B main push looks as soon as we get around where the attackers are allowed to get out of spawn before they are so wonderfully greeted by that Minnesota squad. Well, this is I've seen a lot of games on Split. I've played a lot of games on Split, and I've never seen anything quite like the start of this match. A little bit of unbridled aggression from the defense, a little bit of just utter patience. No one in that pistol round really moved from the spot that they started on. And we see Zempo looking like what's going to be a habit in that B main push coming in, as Zempo starts that one-way smoke in heaven.
I think I know what they were trying to do. Hang on a minute, Cobalt may be able to find a few. That was a nice spray, but only good for one. I think I'll get to the point after the round, because it seems like this is quite a chaotic game, so we'll talk about the round before, after this round is done, but it's a very aggressive B push. And it's worked. I mean, Spike goes down, and there's a lot to work with. 4v4, so it's pretty even. There's Musso jumping down from the side, and maybe able to find a little bit. And wow, hang on a minute. Looks like Minnesota have found some kills. Found all the kills with Bad Apple, taking down AAM, and the defuse for the first round for the defenders. But again, okay, I want to talk about this first round, because the second round, because I think I know what they were doing. So they pushed out 5, right, to try and just surprise, right? Surprise factor, whatever, blah blah blah. They pushed through. But there were 2 players that went through A and just pushed and found no resistance. So they had time to come all the way round. So it took them so long to kill the rest of Iowa over here that they just got round, and they didn't have any escape. And they really just got themselves stuck in this area. And I mean, I don't think they'll be trying that anytime soon.
It just didn't work out particularly well. When you're playing an all classic round, you do have to gamble. And the 5-man push down mid, if anyone at all had been playing that mid area, maybe they get a lucky classic right click, or they overwhelm them. Maybe the element of surprise comes into play. But with Iowa playing a little bit of a more tempered pace, as well as pushing 5B main, it really became a killing field, as they did get into a little bit of a choke point in that old ramen area. And it did not exactly turn out particularly well for them. And then the quick aggression on B main already highlighting how much easier that site is to take as an attackers. And then Minnesota doing a great job of the counter side to that. Excuse me, already doing great on the counter side of that, retaking the site just as easily with the superior firepower. And now we get to see another one of those map changes, the entirety of the remodel of that A Heaven area, as well as the entrance point being made yet again wider, allowing for more angles to defend from, but also allowing more angles to push through. So it becomes a little bit less of a choke point. And with that attention given, they have drawn a third defender over left for them to attack the controller sentinel setup of a 5v2 push onto that B site. And with only 20 seconds left, action should start to happen any second now, as Tan Man jumps through, able to land the kill onto Cobalt, and it's just like that, the site has fallen.
10 seconds left.
It's so awkward, and they're forcing themselves to play very, very quickly, but they seem up for the job, and that's a nice hot hand. Didn't think it did any damage, just barely got it wrong, but hey, that could have been good. Deny the plant, they literally wouldn't have had any time to get it down again. It was their one chance. And hey, if this game goes this long, Well, this might be the longest, like, 13-3 or 13-6 we've ever seen, but here I am. So going over to the other side of the audio queue, Rusty comes onto it and alert. Bad Apple now. Blazeball goes up, but he just rushes through, but Bad Apple's not having any of it, and it's all tied up on Split. What do you think the, you know, we know Split as a very, very defensive-sided map, perhaps the most defensive-sided in the game. So why do you think it is, and do you think it has changed the balance of the game, all these changes?
Well, it's hard to go off of past statistics just because these changes are 2 days old, but it's already appearing to be easier to attack the sites. Unfortunately, as teams haven't really had much time to scrim on it, or even run that many pugs on it, there's not any solid post-plant setup. So just in the same way that it's easier for the attack to get on and establish site control, it's showing just as easily for the defense, as long as they're disciplined and don't go down into too odd of a situation, to be able to retake it just as smoothly. That B site was a nightmare once you took it to retake it, and now it's just now it's playing a little bit more rush friendly, but it's hard to make that judgment. And Rusty Goomba able to make his presence felt in that A heaven area, getting a quick 2-piece and a 5v3 advantage for Minnesota on that defensive side.
Nice from Zempo. Very composed, very chill. And this is perhaps the slowest game of Valorant I've possibly ever seen. And Rusty Goomba really shut off that attack and that flank that I think is pretty integral to their, you know, the attack strategy of Iowa. And now, with just 2 players left in a 2v5, with not much to save, it might be a chance of just going for it before the rest of the defenders rotate out. But even then, no manhunt has been launched. Look at the, you know, the positions that have been maintained by the Minnesota defenders. And hang on a minute, maybe Retsumiso might find something.
30 seconds left.
Well, hang on, he's making his mind up. Give him a second. Might take a little bit. Here's for a double headshot spray, but not quite enough. And there's one back. Nice, I like the blast packs. Very reminiscent of Flights, who's popularized the complexity of the tool. Oh no, the incendiary grenade has blocked the path, and Zempo is hunting them up behind. They really need to move. Nice curveball, he's temporarily blinded, and Goomba finds his third, and Bad Apple finds John. 3-2, and it's looking a little bit more like conventional Split in terms of, you know, the defensive side winning the game. But again, this slow play that is a lot of defaulting and almost waiting for any possible, you know, like a what do you call it, a sort of unwillingness to commit to a rotation in terms of defenders and wanting to stay, and it works out for them.
They're playing them being Minnesota is playing incredibly disciplined, and even against a little bit of a half buy and an eco in that last round, not getting too antsy, playing those long angles where the rifles are going to take precedent over those stingers and upgraded pistols, doing a wonderful job of just maintaining composure, watching rotation angles, and taking advantageous fights for them, and Iowa not doing really anything to push them off of those angles or force them to use any utility. And we are seeing an early ultimate from Zempo going to take control of that mid area, one of the advantages that Viper does have, and it's going to make that incredibly hard to push mid. And just like that, they have almost full mid control, not leaving Iowa with much options in terms of attack other than a rush from one of those 2 choke points. On one of them, you have Cypher with his cameras, with his cages, with his tripwires, and on the other side, you're facing either a 2 or a 3 stack as Phoenix does charge into B. Oh, fantastic use of that lockdown. That is going to bait a rotation, and 4 players are going to be stacked on B if they are able to take advantage of this quick enough, and it looks like they will. They're going to be going 4v1, and will at the very least be able to get that A site control.
Get out of my way.
And at least get a plant in.
Goomba is immovable, and he will not move and fall for any sort of trickery or baiting. Cobalt up in reserve, but Cobalt does find 10 man, and now it's only down to 1. And there's the second for him. 4-2. Things are looking a little bit dire for the start. Retsumiso gives a ... in chat. But I mean, it's very different, especially because we've never casted this version of the map before, and you know, it's all good. I did not expect, you know, we knew that Split was defensive sided and all this sort of stuff. But I did not expect this very reserved style.
They're playing defense the way that you dream that your ranked team plays defense. They're holding angles, they're communicating together. If they're going to give up a site and play it for retake, they're giving it up, playing for retake, and that retake is coming in incredibly coordinated. Ooh, and the Stinger Rush finally pays off. As I say, playing incredibly coordinated, but they are ready for that. And Tan Man is able to get the kill onto Retsamuso. However, mid control has finally been taken, and this is the first bit of early map control that we've seen from Iowa on this Stinger Rush, and it does bode well for them, but the problem hasn't been getting to site. The problem has been maintaining site control once they've either gotten a plant down or started to try to plant, and just like that, they have rotated to an empty A site, but the Minnesota side seems to be more than willing to give up that site control, play the retake, and we've already seen them have a one-man down. I believe it was a 4v3 as well. Retake on that B site, go down successfully. So it'll be interesting to see once that spike gets planted how well they're able to.
Gamer finds an easy pick, and look at the damage that they've done by removing Rusty Goomba from his post. They were granted free access to the site, free reign, and now Rusty Goomba has to play retake in heavily misnumbered times on one man in reserve. That's nice though, over the box, and now maybe it's doable. Looking around the corner, alarm bot goes up. Nice shot before it makes him vulnerable. That's vital to the defense, but John isn't having any of it, and neither is AAM. The attackers find their third round, and for the first replay of the night, let's have a look at this again. I mean, Rusty Goomba being moved from his post is just, so important to pushing, because we saw how it worked so well for Minnesota when it's reserved and he doesn't move. But that's a lovely shot over the box. I mean, keep trying and you will receive, I suppose. But
a little bit of a consolation prize on that retake. And what Iowa was able to do there was not only force the rotation, but take deep control on something other than the site. They were able to get an early pick even before the spike went down onto Cobalt, turning a 4v3 into a 4v2. And at that point, all they had to do was sit back and play the trading game as AAM sitting on that ramp area, able to swing out and polish off Rusty Goomba to end the round. And just like that, a little bit of an economic break as Rusty Goomba only able to rebuy into a Stinger this round, and Iowa needs to take advantage of this. And just as that begins, Zempo able to get a nice little two-piece in the mid, changing his location. Baysball able to get a kill. Zempo with 3.
This is big. Paranoia. He's not that lucky. He's not that good. He's not that warmed up just yet. But that is... These flanks that are coming out from either side are very, compelling as to the result of what the attackers want to do. If the flanks work, then the round is put into jeopardy, but Cobalt, being the last survivor, gets a tag onto AAM, but nothing more, as they begin to run as fast as they possibly can towards the A site, trying to get the spawn down. What is Blissful Gamer doing?
30 seconds
trying to get
left.
this whole flank round, but will have to raise while trying to balance his noise. And he does have the flank on if he wants it. If he can head towards Cobalt, but slowly moving away, reducing the ability for the flank. But the offsite positions are taken, which is an advantage onto itself. Not having to peek anything. Incredibly low though. How much health does he have? He has 30 health. That's one shot, I believe. Or to anywhere in the chest. And he really needs to be careful, but they are playing time beautifully well. They're playing the anxious game, and yeah, he's gonna get that one. We expected that, but hang on. Blissful Gamer is not able to find a kill, but Cobalt doesn't reap his rewards, and 4-4.
And that was a great round from the attack. It could have gone horribly wrong as Reyna was sitting back in that defensive spawn as the spike was planted for Heaven. A 30 HP AAM, the only person remotely close and playing screens to do anything about it. They were really gambling on that rotation from that defensive spawn area outside of B Heaven. However, with so many angles to clear for Cobalt, even a hatless Cypher, the strongest character in the game, unable to figure out where those post-plant positions were taken up. And as time wound down, despite hitting a couple of nice headshots, was not able to finish the round. And it's a quick peek on these eco rounds. Minnesota is showing an extreme willingness to take a gamble stack, take a big risk. And Reyna has already pushed all the way into screens. Jet with that A Heaven control, and they are going to get a free plant. You live by the gamble, you die by the gamble, and it's looking like another round in the hands of Iowa. And just as dominant as Minnesota looked early on in the game, Iowa's kind of figured out the style that they're playing on these eco rounds and have punished them for it. 4v3 in this retake.
Fastball. Already found one on the ropes. We'll find a second just outside the ropes, and if it's any pattern, he'll find one on the site soon enough. But Zempo has been allowed to slip through on the right flank, and with their backs turned to the enemy, it's almost certain doom. They're just not expecting it. They just don't think it's going to happen. But Zempo manages to find one, but only one, and Retsumuso bursts down AAM, but I think all hope is lost at this point. There's not really much you can do. Maybe get an exit if you're lucky. Blissful Gamer isn't having any of it. And, well, if you were talking about last update split, 5-4... is not good for defenders.
And it'll be interesting to see how prepared Minnesota is to attack on this map, because Iowa looking very, very good on this. And this is Iowa's pick, so you do expect them to have a couple more tricks up their sleeve, especially on that attacking side. However, the way that they've been able to get into these rounds is really playing on the tendencies where when they have full rifle rounds, Minnesota is playing this very, very calm, very sedate, almost retake oriented defense, whereas when they're down to a little bit of a lower buy, whether that be stingers, whether that be specters, whether that be pistols, they are taking a little bit more territory, 5-man gamble stacking, and they're taking advantage of those tendencies, showing a willingness to adjust on the fly. But just like that, the control in mid by Zempo, exemplary work. The first man into double digits in this lobby, coming at this Iowa attack from so many different angles in mid, and really being a living nightmare to deal with. And Rusty Goomba taking down Baseball in that heaven area, doing a wonderful job of getting these early picks. And it almost seems like the confidence that Iowa had in attacking is just going up and down round to round. Actually, what are you making of these attacks?
Well, what I'm making of these attacks is a lot of death on the side of Iowa. I guess you could call the mid-control exemplary.
Oh.
Laugh.
Ooh.
Laugh.
Really? Really?
Laugh.
You're going to make a great father one day, Explo.
Thank you very much. I've been holding on to that one for about 30 seconds
left.
since you brought it up. But it's a brief site push that, honestly, most of the time you don't really get to have another go after a site push. But here we are. Oh, no. There's two here, for sure. No! Misses the opening headshot now, and then only had leg shots to go. 15 seconds, gotta go. It's time to fly, and fly he will not. An oily bird. And Tanman and AAM taken out by Retsumuso, as I was talking about, the third highest fragger in the conference so far. Tied up at half-time for attackers is not bad, but it really depends on how they approach it at the end of the half. I think that's what we're looking to now, is what will happen when these sides switch, because it's basically been proven. This is a deadlock.
And a little bit of interesting economy management as Tanman going light armor inspector as his team full buys around him. We are going to see Baseball go with his knives most likely, and yep, the get out of my way rings out. And that is going to be a full push onto the A side. They really need to win this round, otherwise they do risk going 7-5, as they all have under 1,000 credits in Baseball, making the most out of those knives early on. And just like that, the A side has fallen.
Bags, I don't know, Bazball, I think we were told to call him. Call him Wardell instead. The knives are exemplary.
Stop it.
And maybe on for another here, but the headshot's not lined up, but it is as soon as he peeks, and there's 3. Maybe on for a little bit more here. Bazball slowly approaching 2 enemies. Over in screens, and the dream ends with Zempo, as many dreams seem to. And well, it's a wonderful 3K anyway, AAM! Hello, welcome to the game.
And just
Last round
like
in the
that,
half.
we have two more people entering the double-digit clubs as Retsumuso is able to get his 10th with the ultimate before being taken down by the Knives of Baseball, and AAM with that 2K to finish the round off on a very crucial round for their economy, as they are able to buy full rifles. Would have been in a very precarious position, and just like that, Minnesota actually finds themselves in the same position, full armor Inspector onto Bad Apple. However, no knives able to be brought out for that gimmicky play, and it was unfortunate to see that ace get taken away by the RNG spray of that jet right click. And Zempo for the second time going to take full mid control just by pressing X. It'll be interesting to see if Baseball wants to approach that in any way, shape, or form, as he just kind of hovers above. But with the pick onto A, the mid control might not be nearly as necessary.
To I guess, show that it's really been good for Zempo. I'm not going to say Zempo already as well, don't worry. It's really been positive for Zempo, and I think it's an important start. Being able to hold mid like this on your own is basically unheard of, and I don't think it's really possible in any other agent for as long as this is, other than Viper, and I think that is why he picked it. I was a bit confused initially, just because it's not an agent we see very often. But elsewhere on the map, hang on a minute, there's a frag here, surely. Zempo, they just walk past each other. No. Come on. Come on. The fans at home, think of them. Nope, they've let him pass, and well, they're gonna watch that back on the VOD and be very, very annoyed. But here comes Bazball, the highlight reel. But Bazball beats him to it. But there is one more, and leaves as soon as he peeks. You can't blame him. Zempo caught between a rock and an alarm bot. 7-5 going into the half. To the attackers, not very common. But hey, we'll see if the defender's side advantage that is present on this map is down to how well they're playing the defense, or whether it's these map changes that are really influencing how tight this map is now.
And it would be interesting to see Zempo on that Viper, very, very strong on the defensive side of Split. Unfortunately, her utility leads to more of a defensive-sided bias for her. The wall only being able to be placed one time in a round. Kind of, you can play a little bit of mind games. Unfortunately for her, it doesn't allow for her to really be a controller in the sense that Omen is, or that excuse me, I almost said Breach. Brimstone is, being able to be mobile across the map and kind of have the element of surprise. However, in a pistol round, being able to take off complete sight smoke is a huge advantage, and Baseball is going to have to do a lot. And
do a lot. He tried. Do a lot. He tried, and looking away from the enemy is honestly not the best way to do a lot more than one, but I can see he was probably trying to run away, get out, dodge, but sadly not possible. Oh, they're all convening, multiple different angles. Ideally, the way to do it, here comes Tan Man flying through, only one blast pack to supplement it. And the fuel soon runs out, but the fuel for his passion for blood is not, and Tan Man and AAM combined. And surely again, maybe? Maybe another one? Come on. There we go. Oh, whoa. He was aiming far off. Here comes the knife. Oh, no. AAM has stolen it. I don't know whether that knife would have done enough to kill. I'm not sure how low he was at that moment in time. And they are playing with the spike as they are playing with their food. And it seems that Iowa, as good on attackers as they are as good on defenders. And the round, the game continues as we left off at half.
A big pistol round win for Iowa. They were more than willing. Just as we saw, Minnesota was in the first half to play a retake. Very comfortable on that coordination. Tan Man able to clear out the entirety of the front of that A site by just blast packing and spraying his mouse all the way around, as the minimap would have revealed any of the enemy locations. Playing 4 on a site, not exactly the way that you want to play your post plant. And just clinical on AAM, Tan Man's part of being able to get complete site control. A valiant effort by Bad Apple as the last man alive, and a darn shame that we were not able to see Tan Man with a knife to the face. One of the more audacious plays we would have seen in the history of the Big Time Conference. And just like that, we return to a little bit of a slower pace. A couple hero frenzies in the hands of Zempo and Rusty Goomba as they were able to secure kills. Getting ready for a full buy and a full gun round in the third round of the half, but we will see if they can do anything fun with pistols in that full B heaven push.
It's a big nade that wipes out anyone trying to come into the mailroom, but hey, Blissful Gamer taken out. AAM responds, and AAM continues to respond lethally. He seems to be a very, very valuable player for this team as the defenders make their way from their rotation. Hello, welcome to the Rotation Hotel. How may I help you? Well, I'd like some cobalt for breakfast, please. Tanman manages to find one, but Zempo isn't having any of it. Zempo maybe on for a bit more, but Bazball has it all covered. The defuse is not at all hastily. 2 health he survived on. Maybe 1 bullet, and Zempo might have been in for something. But he just swapped a gun for skins.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I prefer a Prime Spectre over just about any other Spectre in the game. But I think he was more making sure that they both got out with the 2 most valuable weapons that were left on that site. And really a great round from the perspective of that Minnesota side. You're going into it with 2 frenzies and a dream, and they were able to take out not only 3 players, but also eliminate all of Baseball's shield, forcing him to rebuy and not able to be on not able to be on that heavy armor, going in with the light armor, along with the first operator that we're seeing. All in all, a moral victory, especially getting that spike plant, securing full utility, full rifles for this first gun round. And Minnesota needs this one desperately, not only for their economy's sake, but being down 9-5, you're going to need to start closing the gap as that margin for error slowly decreases the more and more rounds that Iowa is able to secure.
Big nade here for Tanman. Really big, and he's put into the snake bite, but Nade halts the mailroom push just for a little bit, as it allows the rest of the defenders to rotate around, and it's a sort of off-angle position. Bad apples here, and if he kept shooting, he might have had something, but it's unlucky. But here's the main man. Here's the man that I believe could probably do most things in the world, but not kill 2 people at the same time, sadly. That's one of his talents, but it's Rusty Goomba and 2 friends left. So hold the A site. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. No ultimates. There is an operator. Yes, I think it is. Indeed, I'm correct. I know my skin outlines very well. But, I mean, it's with this sky smoke, which were recently buffed, do you remember? It's not ideal, but here comes Tanman flying through the sight and, well, call it a pincer, because it just did not happen. And Retsumuso shows why he is one of the best fraggers we've seen. 6-9, they needed to start getting somewhere, and they are getting somewhere indeed.
A huge round from Minnesota, able to retain not only a round win, but able to retain 3 rifles going into this next round. Unfortunately, the economy not yet quite settled underneath their feet. However, they are going to be going up against an eco. So just having that full armor is going to be absolutely massive. We're seeing a shorty. We're seeing a couple sheriffs, light armor on 2. Maybe a hero play from Baseball. Going to pop the knife. See if, as this is screamed out by Jet. A hero knife play, going to play for that RNG right click and hope for an A site push. And they are 4 stacking A, really, really banking on that. And on a round like this, you kind of have to play a little bit of a stack advantage. Unfortunately for them, it's looking like a full push on the mid. That spike is leaning towards A. So if they do jump into that vent area with that Bucky, Tanman could get yet another play in the top 5 there. However, they do seem to be noticing that B is largely underrepresented, and Blissful Gamer only there with a shorty, not going to be able to. Oh my God, they're faking and going back.
I'm so confused by what I'm watching, but I do know what I'm watching in terms of Tanman, and that is the owner of ropes, supposedly. I think we can probably just call out Tanman now, but hey, it's a nice entry onto the site, managed to find 2, but here comes the party, and Tanman trying to find something. Well, I mean, we question the dodginess of the kill radius of the showstopper, but I think directly on the pinky toe is probably good enough. Blissful Gamer finds Retsumuso. It's a thrifty win, and a much-needed one given the eco.
And they are going to be kicking themselves after that round. They had a free entry to the B site. They were able to get a pick in mid. It was just Blissful Gamer sitting in B main with a shorty, and they overthought themselves on that eco round. They wanted to attack A, which I respect. There typically are longer angles there. You never expect You never expect two things. You never expect the Spanish Inquisition, and you never expect the Bucky and ropes. And Tanman able to get that early pick, throwing everything into disarray. And just like that, the economy that was in such a precarious position for Minnesota, taken down to shambles, and the Bucky on attack, not necessarily as strong as the Bucky on defense, and the operator always very strong on defense, especially in the hands of a Jet in baseball. More than happy to play that cliche, able to get that early pick in mid, and just settle back into a default retake setup. Don't want to get too crazy. Blissful Gamer flanking all the way through Ramen, going to take the overhill. Did not take a lick of damage. More insult to injury. Just Zempo alone in heaven. Nothing but a dream. Able to take down Blissful Gamer, coming at him with the shorty. But now that they know where he is, and now that they have full spike control, his days are numbered. Maybe going to be able to take a little bit out of the hands of Iowa going into this next round, but in reality, most of the damage that he's going to do is going to be inconsequential.
Toxins going up.
Talk Gamer, I think we should call him Flanking Gamer, because he's been on these flanks so well, and I think we also should mention the trigger discipline that is necessary. That's not good trigger discipline, and Zempo is so quick on the draw, but this Gamer, that play from earlier is pretty ridiculous. Managing to wait the whole time to then just get 3 in like 2 bullets. It's a lineup of dreams. People think of that and go, hey, that'd be a nice ace. Sandman thinking that'll be a nice kill, thank you very much. 11-6. And the people we were thinking should really be suffering are starting to pull ahead.
Of all the picks you're going to get as Zempo in that situation, being able to take out the operator and force a rebuy. And we're seeing Blissful Gamer. Oh, we're seeing a double operator setup. Absolutely toxic. I don't know if they were able. I'm seeing 6K on baseball, so they must have been able to rotate into spawn the third man alive. In addition to the crossfire in mid of AAM and Tanman, able to retrieve that operator. And they're going to be setting up one in the back of B, and they're going to be setting up one in A main, and that is going to make either side incredibly difficult to push. And just like that, the run it back is sent back to whence he came, but baseball unable to land that second shot. And John through the smoke able to land a tag and get a kill with that digital molly. And
not another one.
you know, Viper able to take control of so much territory with that ultimate, gonna make this retake incredibly hard. Looking to be a 7th on the board unless they're able to find a miracle on the retake as the operator. Not exactly the most fun gun to retake with.
To come into this smoke if they want to find any kills, and Zempo has been spotted and just shot, you know, any cover, don't care. Hi, I'm John. Oh, Tanman tries the jump again, and I'm sure it'll work at some point, but today is not his day. Orbital Strike demands the movement. Bad Apple now stuck between the rough and a hard place. Notorious John cleans up. No, it's only Rusty Goomba left to face him to full health. The spike does not have long. One incendiary, that is. Doesn't find the kill, but he's just secured around with one piece of utility. Talk about efficiency.
You know, Neebs, the author of Sovadarts.com, we might have to get a new domain name purchased, as Rusty Goomba making his case for MollyLineups.com. Wonderful piece of utility and map knowledge, able to secure the round. I don't think there was enough time for the Notorious John to be able to get that defuse in, but just to be safe, drawing out so many ultimates in that round. The nice bit, in addition to the round win, obviously, if you're Minnesota, is drawing out that Killjoy ultimate, drawing out the Molotov, kind of learning how you're going to have to play that afterwards. Unfortunately, for Minnesota, they did have to expend 2 ultimates, a very expensive round to win, even having only 1 player surviving. A little bit hard to repeat that same kind of success.
Zempo is well, doing what Zempo seems to do, which is just do dumb things and get in dumb positions and kill from it. I mean, if you all watched the Built Bar Cup back in November, you'll remember Cheat Code, who was very similar. Well, I think we're seeing similar characteristics. Only Flash person in that one was a teammate, and that's not really ideal, but hey, Rusty Goomba manages to make his worth. And AAM coming in the flank. Notorious John finds Zempo as well, and Cobalt really needs to find his kill here onto Tanman. Will do so. Mineral theft available. Will use it, gets the information. Makes this site a lot easier to handle. but Spike needs to go down,
Spike
disables the
planted.
player for just a few seconds. But it's okay, because nobody is moving. Bad Apple and Cobalt. Well, okay, Cobalt has my game just tabbed out. That's really annoying. Cobalt has a Phantom in his hands. Oh, trade it for a Vandal. There we go. See, the snap. People's loadouts change, but AAM and Search and John trying to find any sort of angle, and he's pulled out the utility at exactly the wrong point. Cobalt will punish him. There's a headshot there, and he'll find it. The Hatless Cypher. Again, strongest character in Valorant, trying to find something. They're running rings around the Rosie. He's behind the box. Will he see him? This is so weird, and John will find it. But again, John caught in a place where he has just not enough time.
And just the worst timing in the world for AAM to pull out that smoke. I got a little bit cocky, having not seen anyone poke around, check any angles whatsoever. You did see Cobalt make a wonderful use of that Cypher Cam, keeping tabs on that walkout from Heaven, and they really were very, very patient playing the double pillar position. You usually expect someone to be backside, someone to be B main, especially with the way that Bad Apple used that blaze wall to kind of conceal where he could have been, and with that much thought going into a 2v2 retake, you kind of have to make an assumption and hope beyond all hope that you guess the right angles. And unfortunately for AAM, not the correct guess. That paranoia could be massive. Oh, Retsamuso with the superior firepower going to take down AAM. However, Tanman able to bring one back with the grenade and setting up for a 4v4 retake. Blissful Gamer already sneaking around.
Oh no. He's got to find it now. And he's in a dangerous position. The flash is not good enough. And Blissful Gamer, we talk about in the Flank Master, but here comes Bazball, the Blade Master. Maybe able to find something with the Sheriff. Look how low Ritsumuso is. And despite being, as I said for about the 5th time this game, one of the most prolific fraggers with about 0.5 of a health point, you really have to be instant in those reactions, and sadly, he does not have those in reactions. 12-8, and it's possible, I think, for the comeback, but it's going to be really, really rough.
And they are not going to be attempting. They need 4 rounds in a row, and they're not going to be able to come into this round with very much on their side. Taken down to 4 stingers, and a hero vandal in the hands of Zempo versus a full rifle buy. No operator, one nice bit of news baseball sitting with the Phantom, just 100 credits short of being able to buy that with full armor. And frankly, with the way that they've been playing, the operator not doing wonderful things, a little bit of a cold map from baseball. So we are going to see a full A push trying to take advantage of that short range the short range potency of the Singer, and showing that off admirably. 2 kills to entry into the site, setting up a 5v3 and just a sliver of health onto Omen. There is 3 ultimates for this retake. No reason to necessarily break all of them out, and Rusty Goomba might have himself 3 on a nasty flank. Gonna take Heaven control with that Stinger. They probably don't check ropes. Man going to get shot in the back.
It's really rough. It really is, and well, talk about a bad economic situation. Full guns of the other team plus a 4, so I mean, it really does not get much better than that. Unless it was pistols, I suppose. But the comeback is set for victory if they can find it in their hearts and in their hands. But I would like to remind everyone that Bazball, as I referred to him, the Blade Master, does have a Blade Storm, and should he choose to use it, we've seen what he can do on it already. And I mean, the last round was the first time we really saw like a 5-man attacking commit to a site. And they decided, even though they won that round, they are not going to do it again. Bad Apple sitting in sewers, maybe able to find something. Blissful Gamer takes him out relatively quickly. Bazball as well has the knives available, the Blade Master. Oh no, that is a very, very unintelligent position to be in. Here come the reduced duration. Cloud Burst, now only about 7 seconds, I believe, and the cover is not quick and last long enough. Ritsumuso finds him, and John thinks he's playing for the attackers. Oh no, I'm an idiot. Never mind. Ignore me and my funny English rhetoric. But you will have to run all the way around. as they've been given an open B site. It's looking a little bit unlikely. They've set themselves up for a lot of success
Spike
in this
planted.
comeback, and really it should be expected. Minnesota really were expected to maybe come into this game. Sure, it may not be their map, but at least make a try for it. They have Retsubuso has lightning quick reflexes. It's 10 to 12, and things are looking up. More economy and less economy for the defenders.
It was nice to see a change of pace with that half buy from Iowa there, trying to maybe change the pace. The last time they had a very, very similar buy, they played very, very slowly, found some success, maybe trying to catch Minnesota off guard with the push down mid, the blast pack Bucky. You love it. You love to see it if he's on your team. You hate to see it. Nothing more infuriating than dying to a double blast pack Bucky getting shoved right down your throat to start things off. But it was ultimately Minnesota's patience paying off in the end and getting them to double digits, and really only one round that they need to win to really put themselves in a fantastic position to at least force overtime, as Notorious John and a half by 3 ultimates still in the pocket of Iowa. So it is by no means a foregone conclusion that this round goes the Minnesota way, but they are in a very, very good position, just economically speaking. But as this game has played out, economics really hasn't mattered, and Baseball able to get an early pick, a little bit too curious as Rusty Goomba able to refrag onto him quickly, and that is enough to activate an attack onto the A site. Notorious John going to place that lockdown, and that is going to, at the very least, delay that attack, as ultimates are flying everywhere.
Cancel this! Retsubuso has snuck into the back line. And Notorious John hasn't really noticed. Okay, now he has to swing the angle, but Retsubuso is too quick on the trigger. That's about to run to AAM. That's pretty standard stuff. The spike never went down! They have just said, okay, hey, by the way, death, okay, we're leaving. And AAM is left pondering, where's my spike? And his spike is on the other side. He'll have to run all the way. Utility is mild available. It's not, he hasn't got his paranoia, but he has got everything else. And the paranoia really is a very effective retake tool, so he'll be missing that. But 2 men off, or 1 off site anyway. Covered by the smoke. And AAM just figuring out his chances. Wow. Sneaking behind the camera. Very smart. Oh, okay, I was going to say don't shoot it because you won't know, but hey. Here we are. And AAM now, really not with a lot of time to go. Does tag the spike, maybe trying to find a kill. There's one on for the 4th, but Cobalt is letting Minnesota keep going. It's 11 to 12. And we might have overtime for, I believe, the first time live on stream. You might, I think you have to correct.
I think we are. I think we are.
Never have an overtime.
99.9% sure we are going to see the first overtime. And really, the curious thing in that round was Notorious John's slow reaction times on his lockdown being destroyed. Almost seems surprised to see Retsubuso having pushed all the way through screens, but with the with that lockdown going down on A, it's hard to imagine that he didn't expect that screens control was taken. Unfortunately for him, that did end up being the deciding factor in the round, as the 2v1 with all the time in the world to set up that crossfire on the A site. A great effort from AAM, however, comes up short, and we are seeing what can only be described as a broken by 2 Spectres, a Judge, and an Operator to go with AAM's Phantom full armor and a full A-stack site. And just like that, we are seeing a very quick rotation to mid. Only Tan Man going to be able to stop him with that Judge. Not a great angle to peek. Oh, and you hate to see it. Great use of the snake bite by Zempo, and it is still slowing down as they are going to revert back to that A side.
Wow.
We saw it happen earlier and it didn't pay off. However, it's looking like with the gun advantage, with the utility advantage, and only AAM there to stop them, they are at the very least going to find themselves in a post-plant scenario, and Cobalt making things a 5v3, and we are looking like we are headed to overtime unless AAM can pull off a miracle with his rifle.
Yeah, well, him and John flanking. There's one for AAM. I'm sure it's John. Dropping down here is basically a death sentence. But he does have an operator in support as well. He's just approached. Rusty Goomba could really make a move here if he places his orbital strike in just the right area. Everyone's looking at the flankers. They think they're hidden, but they're not. And Zempo has one. Really should get 2 there. it's a bit disappointing, and it's in a bit of jeopardy. That's a. It was okay. I was gonna say it wasn't good because I didn't think it covered the entire room. You have to be careful to not leave corners. Cobalt manages to find one. Now it's only a 1v2. He's gonna go for the ninja defuse. They haven't quite walked all the way around. It was very, very close, actually. A bit too close for comfort. But as Rusty happily dies to the spike, 5k goes to all parties, and it's overtime.
And if you are unfamiliar or uninitiated in overtime Valorant in the competitive scene, you have to win both an attack and a defensive round in that same overtime period. We are going to be seeing Minnesota start out on defense, and we are going to see Iowa start out on attack. So basically, Iowa has to win this round and the next round, and they win the match 14-12. It is win by 2. You start with 5,000 credits. So if you are bold enough to get an operator, you are sacrificing all of your utility and you are sacrificing shield. And unless you are really, really feeling good about the way your operator is playing, which it's not looking like baseball is, you are not going to see an operator. So we are going to see 5v5 rifles, full sets of utility, and a little bit of a slower style of pace, as it's not looking like Iowa or Minnesota want to be the first ones to get picked, be the first ones to make a mistake. And Zempo, with his patented mid control from the first half, forcing a little bit of caution with that one-way smoke. He's peeked off of both sides and a little bit of early damage, but not much commitment behind any of it.
I think it's important to mention, as most people who are watching the stream probably didn't see it. Michigan, not Michigan State, Michigan, played a makeup game a few days ago on against Ohio State. They went to overtime. They definitely went to overtime. The game ended 18-16, so that's the current conference record. And honestly, I quite need to go to the toilet, so I hope that they don't go on that long. But here's Blissful Gamer trying to make something happen. Unlucky to not be so. Zempo's making his way through his own one-way. Bounceball not really looking the right way. There's only 30 seconds left on the clock. And Zempo finds one, and they're gone. 4. There goes 3, and Zempo setting his team up very, very well. Tanman jumps into the site, which seems to be his characteristic, and I really, really like it. But now, as the cyber cage drops, Cobalt manages to find him out, but Zempo finds 4 in the round, and the first round of overtime heads towards Minnesota. And you gotta really think Iowa should have closed this early. They are trolling. They just threw a hot hands on a friendly, which, if you're not aware, does do friendly fire damage. But, I mean, they really could have closed this game out, and they'll be kicking themselves that they didn't. Should Minnesota take this round now, the comeback will be complete. And what do you think it is that Iowa really need to do to make sure this really doesn't happen? Because this is a big mental toll on the players if this doesn't go their way.
It is going to be incredibly hard. It is going to be incredibly hard for them to come back from, as they were up 12-8. They had 2 eco rounds going up against Minnesota to close out this map, and they find themselves up against map point now. And the lurk onto Zempo, not quite as effective as it was in Blissful Gamer, opting for that operator, especially with Reyna able to overheal and get that 50 shield. And just like that, we find ourselves in a 5v4 again. Little less tentative play from that Minnesota side, looking to take a little bit more map control early on. And while that did not work, that did not show for Iowa in that first half on attack, opting to play a little bit slower. It does show why they did play slower, as that map control attempt backfires. Zempo, their top frag, falling very early, and we are seeing a lean towards that B site. However, it is a fully stacked B site, 3v4. However, Reds and Muso able to make a difference. Blissful Gamer second with the operator. Cobalt securing a 3rd kill in the round, or excuse me, the 2nd kill of the round for that Minnesota attack, and sets up a 3v3.
It's looking dire. It really is. Blissful Gamer could not make his way onto the site, and that means that they've been given full site control. They managed to maintain their off-site positions, and this is going to be very, very difficult to make. 25 health on Blissful Gamer as well, who has the operator. Manages to clear one corner. Cobalt finds one. The chances are dropping by the second. Cobalt again. And Cobalt for 4. And Minnesota, where no one thought and everyone thought the game might be over. They come back to take it all. The first overtime ends swiftly, and Minnesota show they can be down, but not out.
And you absolutely love to see the poise. Was that Zempo with 4 kills in the first round of overtime, and Cobalt with 4 kills in the second round of overtime, really showing how strong they can be. Retsumuso sitting with a lowly 23 kills just behind Cobalt and Zempo, and a wonderful comeback, being able to be down 7-5 at half, being down 12-8, backs up against the wall. Wonderful calling from their IGL, able to make sure that they had the composure and the belief within themselves to be able to come back, knocking on death's door and coming out with a 14-12 victory. This really only bodes well for the second map of the series for them, getting that confidence. And on the Iowa side, what are they going to be able to do with this break period that we are just about to head into? A little bit of soul searching, a little bit of conversation, realizing that they played that map extremely well. A couple kills go their direction, a couple shots get hit, a site gets held, and they are looking at themselves being up 1-0. A mental reset is in order. Expo, any final thoughts on that map before we kick it over to a break?
I mean, Zempo shows with 5 first bloods the top. Well, he has 21 and he makes that 26. So, I mean, it's going up by the game. And also, I mean, I have to say it, Tommy. It's 1 towards the draw. You better look out. The score's tightening in, but we'll have to find out whether, the most important record of the league, which is mine and Commy's prediction score, will rightfully be evened. If Minnesota can find the second game, or if Iowa can reset themselves and take it to a draw. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with map 2 just after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Morocco. Welcome to Bind. And yes, I did Google where this map was in order to make that intro because I couldn't quite remember. And thank God I didn't get it wrong because I thought it was the United States. But Cypher's hometown, as he features on one of the teams, we are up 1-0 for Minnesota, is their map pick. So I'll be looking to get the series done and dusted with any you know, idea of you know, any semblance of what happened last game. They look set and poised to do so, but Coleman Wolverine, what did you make of game 1?
It was a wild game. It's a big emotional boost to that Minnesota squad, and it could be a big emotional drain for Iowa as going down in overtime, having 4 map points. Hard to emphasize that point enough, but all of that has to be cleared out as Iowa starting out on the defensive side of Bind, looking to go against a heavy B push, and just like that, they find the spike, they find the trades, and a great start for this Hawkeye squad. However, they are going to have a little bit of trouble controlling that spike area as Zempo means business. And seeing him switch from that Viper to a much more aggro agent going with that Jet, going to be interesting to see if he changes his playstyle at all. Tanman also switching agents around, going from that Omen, going from that Brimstone over to a Raised. And this is the map, this is the character, and this is the map that we were warned could get very interesting for Tanman. And Raised with a lot of possibilities. Early aggression should be interesting to maintain as the full switch to that A site turns into a 3v2. Very low health on Retsamuso. Going to be very tough for him to do much against these pistols, and they're opting for a double hookah setup. The retake, full health on just about everyone, should go Iowa's way, but we've seen crazier things happen.
Briefly on the defensive positions later on, but hey, look at the enemy when you're fighting them. It's pretty. Sounds like something Phoenix would say. I hope that's a new voice line. You know, super high level tactic. Look at the enemy. But AAM. All right, mate, calm down. You know, game's just started. You know, we just come from a break. Thank you, Corsair. Please just give us a second to get the game going. But I do want to briefly talk about, and I'm sure you will find me in terribly wrong, but the 2 defenders here on the B site, I mean, they were both put in hookah, right, which isn't bad, but we saw that Rusty Goomba and co managed to make their way all the way through long uncontested, and it's honestly, I think they can thank their lucky stars that they did not get planted on here, because I mean, they literally just let them on, and should the hookah push have lasted a bit longer, they would have just got pincered out. And I think that is something that really should not be repeated, because if it does, I don't think they'll get as lucky as they did before. And again, backing 2 on one of the entry points. Let's hookah go. And now they've heard the utility usage. They can't quite leave just yet, and Retsamuso is going to make sure that all death occurs. But Blissful Gamer retreats into the teleporter, leaves the site wide open. And there's no one here other than the 2 rotations, and Tanman has only 1 blast pack to fly in majestically with, as he is made very clear is his. It's like the I think it's called the, well, I like to call it the flight style of Raze. Flights, player signature for doing these flying in. Sort of invented it really, or popularized it. So Gamer dismiss. Bit of a weird time to use it. Marshall looking the wrong way. Zempo has no mercy. And Tanman now trying to make his way round the box. Maybe should find a headshot here. Really shouldn't. He does. Now Bad Apple has to retreat into L, but there's really not a lot of time. They really need to get on this diffuser, but Retsamuso isn't having any of it. Tanman throws out the blast pack, but it's really not enough. Retsamuso finds 3 in the round, and it's 1-1 on Bind.
You know, typically I love disagreeing with you more than anything in the world, and I can see.
I know. Yeah, we know. It's fine.
In the pistol round, I do like the logic they're using. They are opting for their Sentinel and Killjoy being set up on that A site, and as a result, it's going to be incredibly hard to hold a push from both that long position as well as a push through hookah with only a Sova and a Reyna. Not much utility there to stop a full push, so instead they're opting to set up a crossfire, and it worked out very well in that hookah position. Unfortunately, they played it a little bit odd on the angle. It would have been nice to see Reyna with the Marshall peeking out from that garden position, and then having Baseball with a Stinger playing that tight surprise swing, as you rarely do expect to see a crossfire in such a position. It really burned them. Reyna was able to get one, unfortunately not good for two, and just too much sight control and too much time going off the clock as the post plant really matured. Guns given over. One turns into two turns into three, and all of a sudden it's almost an even buy. And with everybody dying, we are seeing a distinct economy advantage in the hands of Minnesota. And they are playing it a little bit slower, trying to play those angles, maybe take advantage of a little bit of Iowa aggression, but they are playing very patient, playing angles that do favor the shorties, Stingers, and that right-click classic. A possibility of things going well. Unfortunately, the trade's going the way of Minnesota.
Cobalt. The one who sat in bath for about 10 hours and makes my observing hell because I was waiting for the moment where he peaked, decides to find a few kills to redeem himself. Thanks for the content very much. Blissful Gamer manages to find one with the Stinger. Taking down not too low, maybe on for another. He does have the Devour and thus will use it as the attackers are pushed and will happily stay in showers, baths, whatever you call it. But Cobalt is staying put, and it's really nice position. He does manage to come out, but does not find himself a kill. Ritsumuso has his ultimate within 3 rounds. That's something to be impressed with. I'm not going to say he's the 3rd best fragger in the conference, because I've said that every single time he's done anything this game. But, I mean, it was interesting to watch, and very annoying to observe. The fact that Cobalt such was sitting just in this position in baths, showers. I don't know, alright? It's one of the two. They mean the same thing, right? So they sit here, and they just sort of waited, and with John sitting just the other side of the wall, I mean, they really could have executed on any single opportunity that they wanted to. They could have left, but chose to move on as the rest of the team rotated, and I think these are quite, I mean, a lot of the time, but that's probably just because I'm bad at the game. Bind is pretty aggressive on the offense, but a lot of it seems like, again, more reserved at the start of the game anyway, as we saw in the first game. Very reserved, very picky with what fights they take. Did he just do a 360 to drop his boombot?
You'll love to see it. A little bit of a flair for the dramatic Tan Man, adding a little bit more spice.
That's a top 5 play. That's a top 5 play. If it has 360 in it, everyone will lap it up. But Tan Man is lapping up bullets right now. And Zempo has the operator already 3 rounds in, and Tan Man is so close. One blank shot and he might find it, but he chooses to look away, triggers the turret and gives away his position. And what could have been a nice opening frag is left to nothing, but an opening frag he still will find as Blissful Gamer unknowingly moves into his path, and Zempo might look for another if he can time the peak correctly, but Retsumuso has no mercy, and he's just running in, but AAM is not having any of it. This is his site, and at his site it will stay. Plant your spike to stake your claim. No stake. What? No stake has been claimed. What did I say? A clake has been stained? Anyway. Moving on from my pointless poetry, I suppose. Verbal poetry. Zempo desperately not trying to die in this exit. And not die he will. Holds the operator on for the next round, and that's a very valuable weapon to save indeed. It's tied up at bind, and it's looking a lot like the first game.
Fortunately able to retain the rifle and the operator going into this round, and that is going to afford Minnesota a full buy back into this, but a much better job, and frankly it can be credited to the rifles in the hands of Iowa as opposed to the shorties and the Stingers. But a wonderful hold from AAM, keeping Showers control not once but twice, able to quickly get rid of Bad Apple's ult, which was their major play. They waited about 45 seconds into the round, got pushed back the first time, didn't really rotate, maybe tried to fake them rotating to give them a second to think, but that A-site hold remained strong, and ultimately that operator pick from Zempo didn't afford them much other than informing the A-site defenders that they were in fact going to stay there. in that slow measured pace of attack. You live by it, you die by it, because unfortunately if that initial push goes wrong, you really don't have that much to fall back on, and very, very little control. A dangerous rotation to clear all the way back to the market, and instead opting for an earlier push into that B site.
Blissful Gamer is really struggling to deal with the long pushes.
Spike
It's just
planted.
not happening, and he's just getting taken down to low health for no reason, and Fastball through the smokes. Calling the smoke criminal. Though that much is already taken.
We're gonna need to see that replay, because that arrow into that scan was absolutely beautiful.
Keep an eye on things in-game, but the replay...
No charges left.
Fastball showed himself to be a nice jet, shows himself to be a nice over as well. Zempo has the Blade Storm now,
Last player
but
standing.
dies. Just straight away. Just straight away. I mean, he's not really afforded any sort of opportunity, and Black Hole of the B site is what all remains of the attackers. It's 3-2, and should the I don't know, the pattern rhyme true, we should be seeing a 1 round go to Minnesota before another round goes to Iowa, and then 2 rounds, and then 2 rounds. And following that pattern, I'm not sure what the score would be, because I'm not that good at thinking. But it would be close.
I appreciate your thought. I appreciate the thought more than anything in the entire world. You know, I'm sure your maths teacher is watching this, very, very proud in his/her living room. However, we are seeing an eco round in the hands of Minnesota, and they've proven that they can be deadly with those stingers, especially pushing up aggressively. However, AAM going to turn the corner and find himself facing 3 enemies. Not exactly who sure to aim at, and that is going to be early U-Haul control. No control really coming out of that showers area, so it's looking like they're just going to play for that retake, give up the front of sight, and hope for the best with their better
Spike
rifles.
planted.
But a 5v4 retake, and Minnesota does a great job of taking the control that they can get with the with those low SMG buys, and that's going to take Blissful Gamer out of his position. 10 left, and as the time ticks down, no meaningful sight control has been gained.
That's a nice shock dart, and John manages to finish him off before he dies, at least gets 1 for his trouble. Zempo stuck between a rock and a cubby and can't seem to find his way out, though Cobalt saves him. Bazball
1 enemy
manages to
remaining.
find 2, and now it's Zempo up against Bazball, but just had more health, and it's 4-2. And I think the pattern is, yeah, the pattern's been broken, so now we might be in for a game that is unpredictable, as it was the first time around.
And that is 6 kills in the last 2 rounds, all of them in a retake, all of them in an odd man scenario. Baseball really making his presence felt, as he was the jet operator in the last he was the jet operator on Split, really never got going on either the operator or any of the rifles. Seems to have woken up between game 1 and game 2, and that is going to bode extremely well for Iowa if they can get fragging from someone other than AAM. Blissful Gamer getting a couple nice kills, Notorious John holding a little bit better after a shaky start, and Iowa finally gets a little bit of breathing room on the scoreboard, breaking it into our first 2-round lead. If they're able to win this round, especially with the operator in the hands of Zempo, it is going to be tough for Minnesota to gain a foothold in this match. In baseball, with a patented retake area coming out.
Still inside. Cutting their vision.
That's going to be a bit of a problem for getting the spike down, and instead of choosing to deal with it, they are just going to leave, which is honestly the right play in my mind. Tanman has a showstopper and has 2 blast packs. There is no way he doesn't run into showers like a madman. There's a lot of kills on the line here! And because the showstopper, for some reason, never gets multi-kills, he'll only be the 1. But maybe a headshot here, maybe a second as well. Jumps into the incendiary grenade, but not before he takes out 3. Tanman is on fire. And he leaves Zempo operator. So probably do most things that normal humans can't do. I probably can fly. Wouldn't doubt it if he brought it out at some point, but Aldrone is going to get the information. And, well, that should be the round. A save is basically essential, but if he does, oh, this is getting real close. AAN, if he'd have picked that, no, look at the manhunt. Look at the manhunt. Zempo is a fox in the forest, and the dogs are coming. And Tempo is just forced to run away, but the operator will be lost. 5-2. Iowa are making a stand.
I want to see that 3K from Tan Man one more time. Really the only thing standing between the A site and that Minnesota push, and does an absolutely wonderful job using the ultimate to get one and having the composure to see both enemies, focus on Phoenix, and then stand in the Molotov, able to get one more. Wonderful work from him, and that round was absolutely massive. Baseball able to pick up that early entry on the retake, scare everyone off. Notorious John able to get his lockdown off, forcing that quick rotation, and the patience again from Tan Man to be able to get that 3K in showers, really shutting down the round. And it was, you know, a nice little confidence booster shot from Zempo on to Blissful Gamer, doing his best FaZe Clan Call of Duty 360 impression. Unfortunately,
that's disappointing. That's not, you know, that's not like a wow, what a shot. That is just
an impeccable timing on Blissful Gamer. Now landing the shot instead of just 360, able to take out Jet in her ult early on in the round. A big pick from Bad Apple on the eco round, maybe going to give them access to that B site. However, there is a treasure trove of Killjoy utility to wade through before that spike can go down.
Slowly making the way through a chain of smokes.
Spike planted.
Smoke will go down. And now Drone trying to find the information. We'll see the 2 before it's taken out. It's really almost impossible, unless it's not looking at you, to not let the Aldrin get its information. That's why it's such a strong piece of utility. And John, Leah, a bit pointless shot darts are looking very interesting. And the shots missed.
One enemy remaining.
Seems like a common theme, but here comes Blissful as he dives and ducks and dodges and whatever the other 2 rules of dodgeball were. 5-2, 6-2. And things are not looking good for Minnesota. They really don't want a 1-1 here because, especially against opposition that is lower ranked than you, anyone below you really have to be beating. Otherwise, you know, there is going to be a team like Michigan or Michigan State who will just sweep through these teams, and then you're left not in the top 8.
And it is good to see Iowa wake up a little bit and not showing any signs of feeling sorry for themselves, not showing any signs of any infighting, any anger for any missed shot or anything like that. It seems like they've done a great job of coming together as a team. And Blissful Gamer giving up the operator that he started off the round with over to the Notorious John, using the Empress ability and just being an all-out distraction, pushing head on into Retsamuso and just, you know, using that dismiss, dancing around him, providing that window for AAM to come in and get a two-piece off of that, the retake going clinical. Nice little plant for Minnesota, going to get you that extra bit, a couple dollars, make sure that that utility does come in for this gun round, a lot more important, and this time a little bit more success. Unfortunately, Blissful Gamer only able to be good for 1, and we find ourselves in a 3v3 and Tan Man just doing Tan Man things.
Retsamuso doing Retsamuso things, but sadly, yeah, it's going to be a retreat. 2 defenders have rotated, but hopefully we'll pick up on the memo quick enough as Spike is leaving and Notorious John is on his way. We'll get there in time to set up some sort of position. Called some of his bots, and within 4 seconds we'll be able to get the turret back up. We all know the same turret. If you played Valorant for more than 3 minutes, you know the annoying turret that sits on the B box. And doesn't look like he's going to be able to get it up.
Out of charges.
Time. 28 health remains on Retsamuso. Really a 1-hit. Has to play this perfectly, but the other defender has not moved round, and this is a big opportunity.
1 enemy remaining.
And Notorious John is not letting the spike go down to the end of his tether. And, well, now Retsamuso, 28 health, gets spotted out by the recon bolt. This is really looking quite bad, and there is the death that I was expecting. Notorious John, very vital to this team in terms of winning that round especially. And it was, I think it was sort of a misplay on the attacking, because I don't think they knew that not both defenders were there. But really, it might have been best to not plant the spike straight away, try and get that pick, and then you can go, because the other defender was not really anywhere close.
20 seconds left in the round. You kind of do what you have to do. You check the angles that you think they might be lurking. They did clear back sight with the arrow. They did clear that garden area. Unfortunately, with those clompy footsteps, a lot of information given away. Blissful Gamer able to land his second operator headshot onto, or excuse me, second operator shot onto Zempo, taking away the shower lurk early. But Notorious John did a wonderful job of waiting, listening to the noise, realizing that only one player was on site and the crossfire was not going to be in any way advantageous, able to take down the spike. And at that point, it's just a race against time and Blissful Gamer. Absolutely fantastic. 3 kills. Get out of here. Blissful Gamer using the dismiss and the operator to perfection. You make a lot of noise about a jet operator, and he is on for 2 more.
There's more here. Curveball does blind him. The lucky shot goes between the legs.
He legged him. That feels bad. Yeah. Look at Phoenix.
Oh no. Well, running through with a frenzy does find one that dismisses out. He's still alive. Maybe on for the ace. Surely they give it to him. Retsumuso is not letting the glory happen for anyone. Retsumuso has 3. And he's leaving. Calm, collected. We're done. Thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to leave. A little bit of a bait.
30 seconds left.
What an action-packed round that was. 2 players from one player from each team coming, alive and roaring into success. And Retsumuso still has his legacy to define. 11 health, recon dart, and 2 shock darts. It's not impossible, but the time really is not on his side. He really doesn't have time to fake this, and Tan Man does Tan Man things yet again. 8-2, and despite best efforts from both teams, it seems like Iowa just can't stop winning.
Iowa is doing a great job, especially after an early frenzy of picks. Blissful Gamer able to get 4 early with the frenzy, able to dismiss away. They tried to give him the ace, and it almost came back to bite them as Retsumuso did a great job of maintaining his composure, getting 3, did the best that he could with the health and the time that he had, but unfortunately, not able, and 7 rounds in a row going to the way of Iowa. And just like that, their bank is solid. They're able to bring out that single operator. Blissful Gamer really feeling it. 11 kills already, almost able to get Zempo. And you have to,
and there's another ding dong. Oh no, that's a big miss. Fastball though manages to make up for it. That's really big. Notorious John is also there to shut it out.
Moved just a little bit too early. That looked almost perfect. You thought that Blissful Gamer, with the rounds that he's been having, was going to be able to get a nice little 3-piece going on into long. But fortunately, Baseball and Notorious John also present on the B side, able to clean up the mess that was that eco. And going into this last round, we are at the very least going to be able to see a full buy from Minnesota, and really avoiding anything other than double digits before is at least a small moral victory before that full reset that is going to be halftime. And they are not going to mess around with A. They guessed correctly that the operator of Blissful Gamer that has become so crucial to avoid as it's come alive over the last 5 rounds. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're still pushing into the Notorious John in a fully killjoyed A site. Or excuse me, a fully killjoyed B site, and then that's just, you're not going to have a good time either way you cut it.
We're going to try and make the best fun of it, but now swarms aren't fun, and especially if you're Cobalt, because he's just died to one. Zempo behind Swarm, but not before it all goes downhill, and Fastball maybe on for something. Here's Blissful Gamer. Oh no. Blissful Gamer, please. I have set up this man to have like 2 clip kills, and he's not done it for me. We had the ding dong, which I thought was really clever and really smart, but it doesn't work if there's no kill involved. So, please, for the sake of me and my career, just like kill the other team. I think that's the stance that I would take in the situation. Please kill the other team.
Well, ding dong is making you look like a dingbat. Unfortunately, Minnesota also looking like dingbats. Oh, that one felt good.
That was good. That's better than, what was it? Zempo or something?
Feels good, man. It's very rare that I outwit the Brit. But going into the second half, a 10-2 scoreline, the all-important pistol round, Iowa looking to head towards that B site, and a little bit less potent of defense. Cypher really makes his presence felt a little bit more in the middle rounds of a half, as opposed to early rounds with that Killjoy utility. So hard to push through going against just pistols, and it looks like Iowa is thinking the same thing as they are full on rushing onto that B site. And just like that, the two defenders have fallen. They have been able. Oh,
it's not good.
Able to get one.
It's not good. Basketball trying to make a last stand, and he will. There's another, and it's 11-2. And it looks like no matter what Minnesota try to do, they are destined for another 1-1. Unless they pull something out the hat here. I think we're going to look at Iowa. I think a 1-1 is a very good result in this case for them. Just because Minnesota have proven themselves to be such a powerful force. And a 1-1, especially in the state that Iowa is in, that boosts up to 2 kills, as we were talking about in the standings, pushes them into that like bracket in which there's a lot of time to move up depending on how many rounds you win and how little you lose. And I think Iowa, though obviously a 2-0 is the most desirable, won't be completely disappointed with this. Zempo trying to make something happen, but taking down to 28 health, and Blissful Gamer, I mean, Zempo just cannot operate while Blissful Gamer is on the map. It just cannot happen. Zempo was so dominant and such a vital piece to the team on split, making those flanks, making those, extraordinary plays, and he's just not been allowed to. Blissful Gamer has had the contract to kill. And, well, they just can't find their way onto the site either. And it looks like they're going to try and make their way on a rotation. And it all depends on how quickly the defense catches on. I'll be sitting there for a little bit longer. They probably should wait until something happens. What is this? Oh, wow. Okay, Red Samusa. This is serverlineups.com. Serverlineups.com. Oh! Okay. Well, there's a head-to-head that I did not expect to see, and I, as a Silver One Trick, am very happy to see it. Red Samuso. There's one, doesn't find the other. Bazball trades him out as his counterpart. This is a real war going on between the two of them. Notorious John manages to find another. It's a 2v2, AAM and John going up against Rusty Goomba. And trying to find a kill here. They just can't find the right target. There's so many of them, but there we go. Bad Apple manages to find the kill, and finally a round in the second half on the board for Minnesota, and maybe a good sign of things to come.
Well, it does break the streak of 9 in a row, and with being down 11-2, you knew you were going to see a force buy come out of Minnesota, putting every last credit that they possibly could, and that is going to leave them at a slight economic advantage. Unfortunately, with 3 players going down on their side as well, the rebuys are going to be a little bit tough, and we are seeing a rare 5 Spectre full shield round 3 of the half, which is going to be doing better than the Frenzy, the Sheriff, the Ghost. No armor anywhere to be seen on Iowa. They are content to just build their economy with such a controlling lead. The last thing they want is a repeat of split where the ball gets rolling, momentum heads in the direction of Minnesota. They are more than happy to take an L in this round if it means securing an advantage in the economy later in the game. No reason to force up. And as a result, we are going to see a little bit more of a slow play, trying to maybe take advantage of a Minnesota player getting too antsy, a gun gets in their hands, and then things can get crazy, especially with the way that Blissful Gamer has shown up in this lobby.
Well, Zempo, standing up to the assassin that has had his number all game, and now, with his poison off the map, may be able to operate with a little more class. And though the action is nowhere near him, it's exactly on the opposite side of the map, actually. From one end to the other. Cobalt is just barely not spotted by John. The notorious John. Been quite notorious in this series. Bazball. Recon dart. Okay, that was not nearly as impressive, but hey, it's vital and it works. Here come the attackers, and notorious John trying to find a spray down. 3 people spraying. Retsumuso down is enough, and the turret.
Player standing.
Cobalt manages to find 2. Hang on a minute. There's 4. There is 4. And now, with the save that came through, there is a chance.
And it'll be interesting to see what Minnesota decides to do with this. If they opt to keep those Spectres and start to build up their economy a little bit, or if they go all out for the rifles and go for the kill. And it's looking like they are more than happy to stay with the Spectres, especially on that defensive side when you have a little bit more choice as to what angles that you're going to play. This could be a massive round for them if they're able to pull it off, and they have very, very little margin for error. So if they are able to somehow get themselves in a winning position in this bonus round, the snowball could start rolling down the hill. It's up to Iowa with this full rifle buy. No one more than 700 credits left in the bank. An absolutely massive round, and they are already favoring that B site again. They seem to like what they have here. However, Retsamuso and Cobalt doubling up.
Standing ahead. Where is Blades? I can't find the number, but it's dead, so it doesn't matter. Observing is not my primary speciality, but I hope it's been good enough for the whole broadcast. Here's Blissful Gamer. Trying to find something through the dark cover. Surely it's about who gets the head and who has the higher power weapon, and the Vandal will outclass the Spectre for what seems like eternity. But here comes the Hunter's Fury from Retsamuso. We know how good it is! There's a second! 2 in that? That is a new record. I know I like to harp on about Hunter's Fury records, but hey, there it is. There's 2, and that's probably the first 2 we've seen. There's a lineup here, but Cobalt falters. Sorry, AAM falters. Cobalt does not. Well, let's have a look at that replay. I mean, the Hunter's Fury was very impressive. I'm surprised because it looked like the 2 players were just at the radius and he was going to hit it directly into the directly in between. But hey, I mean, I'm in no position to judge this man for how good he is. Retsamuso far better than I am, and just how satisfying is that? That's why Sova is undoubtedly the best agent in the game. Not because he... You know I'm right.
No, I've no doubt about it. You see him in every professional team comp for his recon ability, the amount of information he's able to get you all over the map. Really only split you don't tend to see a Sova just because of how many tight angles there are, how hard it is to get a bunch of tags in the eco getting cleaned up quite nicely. And that might be the first time I've ever seen one pull of that Hunter's Fury get 2 players, especially the way that he got him with 2 on either side of it. It almost looked like it was going to go right down the middle for a first pitch strike. However, he was able to tag both of them on the side, get 2 pieces, and save the round. And just like that, like I said, with that win, puts the economy in shambles for Iowa and all but secures them that 6th round. And no one is dying. Everybody is going to be able to rebuy should they falter on one of these, and that is going to be absolutely crucial if this comeback effort is going to be successful for Minnesota. They've already shown the fortitude on split to be able to come back from being down 12-8. 11-2, a little bit more daunting of a scoreline. However, if there's any team in this competition to do it, Minnesota have proven themselves more than willing and more than capable to play from that behind position. And at this point, this round is all but a formality. 2 Ghost, 17 health and a Dream on AAM, and
it's gone. There we go.
Yeah.
Cobalt.
Yep.
Thank you very much. That took far longer. There was a lot of build-up. I was half expecting them to turn around and just like turn on their aimbot and just pop, 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 pop. You know, everyone's gone. But hey, sometimes the build-up is not it's not equal value to the results, and that is one of those cases. But the build-up in this comeback that seems to be happening from Minnesota seems definitely worth the time, especially because when you're down like this, even if in the format that we're playing, even if you don't win, if you push this to 13, 9, 10, whatever it might be, every round, like it's not common in these sort of in many formats, but it does matter in this one. Every round, a single round can mean the difference between going to playoffs and not.
With that round differential being the tiebreaker, every round does come up massive. And, you know, we're seeing it out of Minnesota. It'd be easy if it were just wins and losses and as simple as that to have Minnesota kind of call it a day, get back to their Friday night. But with so much to fight for, we are really seeing a fantastic play. Able to get a tag and destroy that lockdown. Absolutely fantastic from... Oh, Baseball destroyed his own... Oh, no. It looked like he destroyed his own lockdown. A little bit surprised there, a little bit confused where that was coming from. However, Zempo finding a little bit of his stride, able to get rid of the demons that Blissful Gamer has been. Unfortunately, the ace has totally fallen. Oh.
Well, Tamman and Cobalt. Tamman has a nice birthday gift for Cobalt. I don't know if it's his birthday. I was completely guessing, but Blissful Gamer is not guessing. How he plays, knows exactly where the enemy is, and Tanman is turning to be one of the most entertaining players to watch, in my opinion. But it looks like, sadly, what we were drumming up seems to be coming to an end. As says the corner, it's gone, and well, it's match point. They had 1 life. Oh, now they've ruined it. Now it's on hardcore.
Match point.
Match point. No mistakes. It's got to be all Frosty.
12-8 was the scoreline before the last comeback. Now they are sitting at game point at 12-6. Minnesota going to need to be flawless from here, and it is good to see a full buy coming. Zempo opting for the operator again, only this time being sent to light shields, but Zempo has shown his capability with that operator, and if you're able to kill him before they even register that you're on your screen, that 25 shield is not going to make a lick of difference, and we are seeing an aggressive Sova ult for information. Going to see that A site is fairly well represented. However, that is not going to stop them.
That's really unlucky. You really should have found more in that spray, but because everyone was jumping and jiving like it was some sort of 60s disco, sadly could not find what he wanted. Here's Zempo. Hi!
Planted.
Okay,
Last
AAM
player
says hi. And sadly, again, Retsumusou, the only one left, could do it. 3 players on very low health. It is possible, but it's very unlikely. It's going to be very rough to try and reclaim this comeback, but reclaiming this like this way.
Oh!
Why did he jump? Blissful Gamer. Critical mistake, but he can't really pass through that window without taking a lot of damage, and the flank should be on any minute. No! Shows him not to. Recon Bolt reveals him. There's not enough time, sadly. Just gonna try and make a clip out of this one, but baseball turns out to be the Sova of preference. Minnesota forced to a 1-1. Iowa will be very happy with that result, quashing the rebellion before it starts, and wow, it's been a very eventful series.
There was just enough time that I started to believe in the comeback, being able to pick up 4 rounds in a row. Retsumusou showing double Sova. Retsumusou and Baseball being the top frags on their team, 21 kills apiece. Just a little bit more damage to raise that ACS for Retsumusou, sitting at 331. But really, an all-around fantastic performance from Iowa, coming off of such a tough loss, 14-12 after being up 12-8. You hate to harp on it as much as you do, and I think Iowa, looking in the mirror, is going to know that they could have had a 2-0 series win for this. You never know if those couple rounds or that win or loss is going to come back and bite you at the end. But they did a wonderful job tonight of putting that game past them, showing up to play on Bind, taking away the map pick of Minnesota in a very resounding fashion, 13-6, boosting that differential. And if you're gonna leave with in any way, shape, or form after that, you want to leave with a good taste in your mouth, a bit of positive momentum rolling into week 4 for them. And it was good to see Blissful Gamer and Baseball pick up the slack after Tanman kind of had himself a little bit of a quieter game. Baseball and Blissful Gamer with that operator, a real menace everywhere. A site, B site, B long, showers, wherever he found himself, he was able to be at least good for one with that operator. So a lot of good signs for Iowa, a little bit better than their record indicates. Tough losses against Michigan State. You hate to start your season off with a squad as tough as that one, and that 14-12 loss at the beginning of tonight. Something to hang your hat on, positive momentum going into the rest of the season. Expo, any final thoughts before we kick it over to a Corsair ad for the last time?
It's important to talk about how players, and I really like this, how players, like 2 players from each team, like one player from one team, one player from the other, can really, the relationship between those 2 players can define a game, right? Because Retsumusou and Basball very much competing against each other, and I mainly want to talk about Blissful Gamer and Zempo, because Zempo was running riot on Split, right? He had mid on lock every round, an ungodly amount of ultimates, and they really could not do anything to stop him. And then they basically, I imagine they said, "Hey, Blissful Gamer, kill that one," and he did. And then so you saw it every round. Zempo would go somewhere, Blissful Gamer would be in the same place, and it would just Blissful Gamer gets the kill. And he's shut down. He can't operate. I mentioned it. He can't make that difference that he makes as such an all-star player, especially a player that makes so many first bloods and so many opening picks. I think this puts him at 29 in total after this series. And when you have a player that's so vital in one niche role, if you can shut that out, then the whole team has to sort of mold around you. And not only is that very frustrating, but also, I mean, if a team is put in an uncomfortable position, there's not many teams that can go and adapt on the fly. And, you know, I mean, that it's hard to pick like an... I mean, we don't really do official MVPs, but if I had to pick like an MVP, I really don't know, because Zempo was so good in the first game. Cobalt was holding it down so well in both, though didn't have a very high score in both. Blissful Gamer, I would say, was basically the biggest factor in winning that game for Iowa. And then also Retsumuso and Bazball, who were just incredible Sovers. And I don't know what to pick, but what I do know, and it pains me, is that you are currently 4-2 up because of another 1-1 on livestream. And mark my words, there will be a 2-0. We will go even, and then I'll just start climbing. It'll just keep going up. Oh, I'm coming, I got it wrong. Oh, I got it wrong again. Oh, look at it. Oh, and then I will win all of the bragging rights, and I'll no. I want you to know that every broadcast that I'm ahead, I will brag about it constantly. So, you know, keep your game face on. But I mean, outside of the game, I mean, this has been a great show. I mean, thanks to LV obviously for putting the show on. Obviously because we couldn't have the studio, so big shout outs to LV, who has navigated away, learned the system in 2 days, and it was brilliant. I'd also like to send best wishes to everyone at Aquatik HQ with the COVID outbreak. So hope you all get better soon. Hope you had a bit of entertainment. And, well, I mean, thank you, Corsair, for putting on this event. Thanks, Corsair. You have brilliant ads, and we're about to see one just very soon. But I believe, do you have some housekeeping to go over after?
We'll take care of the housekeeping after this short break. We don't want to take anything away from Corsair. Again, can't say it enough times. A huge thank you to Corsair for putting this on and believing in us. A huge thanks to these teams for putting on quite the show tonight. We will kick it back very briefly after this Corsair ad, so stick around. If you want to hear more of my voice, leave now, and I would totally understand. LV, kick us to that last ad, and we will wrap this thing up.
Bye, everyone.
All right, welcome back to the very tail end. Only true dedicated fans of the Big Time Valorant Conference are still here. Thank you so much for sticking with us. A couple last-minute bits of housekeeping that Neptjun handles so much more adeptly than myself, but we're making do with what we have. We should be back live in the studio. Everything is getting disinfected. Everything is getting cleaned. Everybody is getting checked and rechecked and then checked again. So fingers crossed, assuming everything goes right, we should be back to our normal programming schedule in studio next week, starting on Thursday night with that fireside conversation. And since we've had a week off from it, and a lot of pandemonium, you don't want to miss it. A lot of good stuff is going to be in there. If you have not had enough Valorant from the Aquatik HQ, there are going to be two pretty fun events next week, both with the community mashup, 1:30 on Saturday, If you have not registered for that and you are interested, check out the esports announcement section of our Discord server. I'm sure the mods are going to ping our Discord server incessantly in the chat. Wink, wink. Join up, get involved. There will be a chance to win $250 of Neptune's money, the best type of money to win. And then lastly, we are going to be back next week with yet another fantastic game, 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully we'll have Neptune back in the studio and Riptide behind the keys. But if not, you'll be stuck with me, you'll be stuck with Explo, and you will be stuck with Elvie. And without further ado, we'll kick it over to a raid. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. And next week we'll see you in the arena.
Nice.